Hey there, pirates. Welcome aboard the Anime No Me channel. Usopp might inherit Ragnir, Loki's divine warhammer in one piece, based on what went down in chapter 1171 and all the mythic Elbaf vibes. I hope for your support to help our crew win, and to do so, you just need to click the thumbs up button, leave a like, and subscribe to the channel. By doing this, you will win an incredible devil fruit, so just comment which fruit you want. Guys, check this out. The name Ragnir already gives it away. It blends Ragnarok, the Nordic end times where everything collapses and gets reborn, with Mjolnir, Thor's iconic lightning hammer that flies back into his hand. In the manga, the kanji for Ragnir means Iron Thunder, which screams legendary hammer, but with a twist. Instead of a short throwing mallet, it's a massive two-handed warhammer, perfect for giants like Loki to crush enemies with. And in chapter 1171, we literally see that in action. Loki dives straight at the Draugr, that skeletal monster that falls into the underworld, with Luffy clinging to him, hyped out of his mind like, "Shishishi, I want to see you fight so bad." Loki activates Ragnir, and it growls grrr like it has a life of its own, then unleashes an epic move called Niflheim, freezing the monster solid with ice powers. Luffy's jaw drops. What the? And that suggests the hammer isn't just raw metal. It controls elements, starting with Niflheim's ice, the primordial frozen realm in Norse myth, full of mist and ancient cold. That makes me think Ragnir might contain a divine-type devil fruit that controls multiple elements, since Elbaf is soaked in Nordic mythology, and Oda loves mixing fruits with myth. Like, imagine if it's a god-type fruit similar to Thor, who controls thunder and storms, but expanded to other realms like Niflheim for ice. Or maybe Odin, the All-Father, with wisdom and powers covering fire, wind, earth, etc. After all, in the manga, Elbaf's giants are ancient warrior tribes, and Loki, as a cursed prince, wields something that feels divine. I'm not pulling this out of nowhere. Oda shows Ragnir reacting like it's alive, releasing specific elements, which smells like a mythical zone or paramecia linked to gods, and Usopp inheriting that? It actually tracks, since Usopp always levels up in arcs involving giants. Remember in Little Garden, him idolizing Dory and Brogy, dreaming of becoming a brave warrior. Now in Elbaf, with Loki flaunting that hammer, maybe Usopp, the liar who becomes a hero, proves himself and earns Ragnir as an inheritance, upgrading him from sniper to elemental warrior. Think of his progression. Usopp started weak, then upgraded to Kabuto in Water 7, then unlocked Observation Haki in Dressrosa, and now, assuming continuity, he could handle Ragnir because the hammer chooses its wielder, like Mjolnir only lifts for the worthy. Loki, being the god of chaos and myth, passing it to Usopp, who is chaotic and creative and turns lies into reality, fits insanely well. In chapter 1171, Loki used ice, but what if there's way more? Assuming it controls multiple elements based on Norse realms, Thor with lightning, already implied by the name, Freyr with weather and earth, Njordr with sea and wind, or even Ymir, the primordial giant who shaped the Norse world through elemental creation. Oda ties this in because Elbaf is war-coded historically, and the mention of Giants of D connects to divine rebellion against Imu. Imagine Usopp after Loki either allies with the crew or falls in battle, grabbing Ragnir and activating different modes. Ice to freeze marine fleets, lightning to shock Blackbeard, fire from Muspelheim, the Norse realm of flames, to burns through defenses. Based on the manga, Loki used Niflheim as origin world, kanji implying elemental roots, so Ragnir might be the key to multi-element power, maybe from a Hito Hito no Mi model. Norse god, like Luffy's Nika, is freedom. Usopp, dreaming of Elbaf since childhood, would inherit it to fulfill that prophecy-like arc of the brave warrior. And the funny part, Luffy is hyped about Loki, but Usopp is in the main group, likely watching and connecting it to his fear turning into courage theme. Loki passing the hammer to someone small fits myth. Divine weapons often go to unlikely heroes. Potential gods match Usopp perfectly. Loki, the trickster, lies, or Heimdall, the watchful guardian, Haki, and perception. Elbaf is straight up Asgard coded, so Ragnir being a fallen god's weapon that helps topple Imu, who literally gasps from Harold's death in the same chapter, is wild. This would level Usopp up from sniper to hammer bearer with elemental control. Not redundant either. Each element offers new tactics. Ice for control, wind for mobility, lightning for offense, earth for shockwaves. Oda has been building mythic fruits like Luffy's, and Ragnir even growls, hinting at a zone awakening. Usopp inheriting it would make him pivotal in the final war, smashing Gorosei with Norse god power. Continuing with the current manga flashback, Loki killing Harold and Imu, feeling the blow. Ragnir might be anti-immortality, freezing essence itself. Usopp, with sniper precision, could even launch elemental projectiles. If Loki sees Elbaf's spirit in Usopp, inheritance becomes the obvious play. Gods like Skadi, winter and hunting, match ice and sniping. Bragi matches storytelling and trickery. Even Fenrir, Wolf of Ragnarok, fits, since Ragnir sounds like Fenrir's name, too. Usopp wielding that while shouting Norse attack names as Luffy laughs would be both epic and hilarious. Based on chapter 1171 showing ice release and assuming fire next, Usopp inheriting it to juggle elements against Yonko makes total sense if Elbaf is the myth hub with a massive library revealing lore connections. Usopp has always envied powers, but grows organically. Ragnir would be the deserved mythic upgrade. Loki flying with the hammer means Usopp might even gain aerial mobility. That turns Usopp from God of Lies into Elemental God, contrasting Luffy's sun theme. And the funniest part? He'd exaggerate his strength like always, except this time he'd actually deliver. And this whole theory about Usopp inheriting Ragnir gets even more compelling when we start expanding the possibilities of the hammer and the impact its inheritance could have on the story. Loki's hammer, with its divine power and mythological implications, could mark a major milestone in Usopp's character growth. His transition from cowardly liar to elemental hero would be an epic evolution worthy of Elbaf's great warriors. It aligns perfectly with One Piece's core philosophy, where every character has a journey of overcoming themselves, and Usopp, in particular, has always been tied to legends and heroic tales. The difference now is that he wouldn't just talk about them, he'd finally have the power to take part in them. If Ragnir really is a weapon tied to a divine-type devil fruit, it wouldn't just give Usopp elemental abilities, it would mean he becomes one of the central pillars in the war against Imu and the immortal followers. Imagine Usopp wielding the hammer, not only attacking with ice, but unleashing lightning, fire, and maybe even earthquakes or wind and earth manipulation. Those powers wouldn't just be flashy attacks, they'd be strategic tools, allowing Usopp to play a crucial role in the war in a way that fits his unique style. Ice to freeze entire marine fleets or create impenetrable barriers. Lightning as a reference to Thor's thunder, to vaporize powerful enemies like Blackbeard or crack the defenses of immortal figures. Fire from Muspelheim, the realm of flames, to burn through Imu's forces and sow chaos among soldiers, and maybe even the wind or earth, giving Usopp control over the battlefield itself, tilting the terrain in favor of the Straw Hats. That wouldn't just make Usopp a force of nature, it would add a whole new layer of tactical complexity to the final war. Plus, the idea that Ragnir chooses its owner carries massive symbolic weight. Not just anyone would be worthy of wielding a divine weapon, and Usopp's journey from weakling to hero fits that arc perfectly. In Elbaf, he already showed his bond with giants back in Little Garden, admiring Dory and Brogy, and dreaming of becoming a warrior like them. Inheriting Ragnir could be Oda's way of rewarding Usopp's growth, showing that despite his lies and fears, he has the heart and courage of a real warrior. There's also the mythological angle. Elbaf feels like Asgard in so many ways, full of Nordic legends. Usopp, who always dreamed of greatness, could now become a hero at the level of a Norse god. But he'd be a more complex figure, combining Loki's chaos with a warrior's honor. It fits him perfectly, since Usopp has always been a master of strategy, deception, and creativity. He wouldn't just be a brute force fighter, he'd be someone who plays with the elements in the battlefield, turning war into a game, but a serious one. The relationship between Usopp and Loki is another point worth highlighting. Both characters began with traits seen as weak or fraudulent. Loki is the god of trickery and chaos. Usopp is the liar and coward of the crew. But in both cases, the story reveals there's more to them, something deeper beyond those surface flaws. By passing Ragnir down to Usopp, Loki wouldn't be giving him just a weapon. He'd be recognizing that hidden potential, the ability to create, to destroy, to be unpredictable, and to be courageous when it truly matters. Imu and the immortal followers would be the primary threat to Luffy and the crew. But with Ragnir's power, Usopp becomes one of the biggest obstacles for them. Not just because he could command elemental power, but because he'd become unpredictable, a wild card capable of flipping the tide in favor of the Straw Hats. Usopp, with the hammer, could even become one of the key players in battles against the Gorosei or other major enemies, unleashing attacks even immortals wouldn't see coming. Ragnir, reacting as if alive, growling, roaring, and manipulating elements, strengthens the idea that the weapon has an intelligence or spirit of its own. That brings extra mystery to Usopp's power, making him not only the owner of the weapon, but someone who must learn to connect with it and understand it. That gives Usopp a whole new personal arc, mastering Ragnir, just like Luffy had to learn to control Gear 5th, or even his Conqueror's Haki. That was today's content. We hope you liked it and want to share your opinion on the subject. Don't forget to share the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and stay amazing.